In this video, we're going to talk about how to set up your Buildxact account. We're going to start by looking at how to upload logos and business details, how to add in new users, how to manage your subscription, and lastly, we'll look at changing and adjusting your tax profile. Now, to begin, to make these changes, we're going to start by clicking into the My Business section. And starting in under Business Account, we have Business Details. This is essentially where you'll begin to brand and enter some key information in Buildxact. So that includes things like your business details. You'll be able to enter in your or edit your business name, change your contact billing, email, update your website, or put in licenses. As a quick note, if you are looking to change your registered email, you won't be able to do that in here. You'll have to reach out to our support team, and you can do so by simply hitting the Need Help button and following the prompts. From there, you'll be able to edit and update both the big format logo as well as the small format logo, and of course, able to double check and or edit your contact details. Now, Buildxact will use these three bits of information all over the place, chief amongst which is anywhere you create documentation. So that'll include things like quote letter, change orders, outgoing invoices, just to name a few. And Buildxact will use this information as well as it populates the various portals, including, but not limited to, the client portal and the request for quote portal as well. And we'll talk all about that in other videos. From there, for those of you in the upgraded plans, being Pro and Teams, you'll also have this gallery and brand colors. And both of these areas are essentially helping you to brand and populate the client portal, which again, we'll talk about in another business. But these images here will be displayed in the portfolio section in the client portal, and obviously really invites you to upload images of past work to really sort of help showcase what you've done to prospective or current clients. And of course, you can edit the brand colors, and that will go directly into branding up your client portal. And again, we'll talk about that in another video. Last but not least is the other settings. Only thing you need to double check in here is really just to verify that your time zone is set up correctly. It should be from when your account's set up, but is always worth double checking. Next up, back in our business account, we're going to jump to our users section. And this is where you can manage all of your different users in Buildxact. Now, first thing to note is each type of subscription plan in Buildxact will come with a number of included users, and you'll be able to see that here. And the included users are really just referring to users that you pay for as a part of your subscription. So for those of you on entry, that'll be 1. For Pro, that's 2. And Teams, that's 4. Now, you're not limited to just that number of users. Again, that's just paid for as a part of your subscription. You can invite as many as you want, and pricing for every additional user is available on our website if you're curious. From there, though, regardless of whether they're included or they're additional paid users, all you need to do is simply hit the Add button here, the plus button. You'll be able to fill in a few details, and upon finishing that and hitting the OK button, that will then send an email to the new user to basically invite them into your Buildxact account. And once you have invited them, you'll be able to click back into their username, and from there, edit the user access levels. And we have some FAQ content on that if you're curious. Our last stop under the business account is going to be a stopover on our subscriptions tab. And this is really where you can manage all things related to your subscription, including if you need to change your payment method, say you need to update credit card details or payment details, as well as you can view past invoices in here if you need access to it. In here, you can also change and modify your plan as well. So this is really where you can go ahead and upgrade your account as your business and as your needs grow within Buildxact and as different accounts suit what you're looking for. And you can also change to annual billing as well, which will save you a little bit of money by moving to that particular type of subscription. Last but not least here, we're going to jump into our business setup, and we're going to jump right down to our tax rates. And in here, this is basically going to be where we can edit our default tax profile in order to help Buildxact understand how much we need to account for when it comes to both the income and expense taxation. And we'll talk about that in other videos, but this is essentially helping Buildxact understand that tax profile in order to help make sure it can calculate it correctly. Now to begin, we're going to hit the edit function here. And essentially reading this left to right, top down, we're going to start here by just touching on the profile name. So you'll see here, this will be for our US-based users. Our Canadian users will have a slightly different profile, but this is just the profile name of this particular configured tax profile. From there, we also have the short code. And so that's going to be used all over Buildxact. Then in the actual profile itself, leading left to right, we have code, which is essentially just going to be the short name version of that. Then we have the description, which would be the full name version. Then we have the particular tax percentage against that item. We have exempt, and we'll come back to that in a minute. And then from there, we have the type, where we have income and expense types. And then further along, we then tell Buildxact, well, what item types are applicable for that particular tax rate. So here you can see that I've said that in this case, 2% is applicable to me, and that will then be applied against all items, including material, labor, equipment, or subcontractor. Or perhaps if it's applied to all of them but labor, I can just go ahead and select it. So any labor items won't have that federal income tax applied to it as an example. So from there, we just basically need to go through and fill it out. This tax profile has been set up to encompass the most common types of tax that you may incur. So really all you need to do is go ahead and just adjust it accordingly, make any changes, or if there's a particular tax rate in here that is currently zeroed off, you can go ahead and fill that in and again, update which items it's applied to. Now from there, we do that in one batch where we also need an exempt line. And then we're going to do that again, but this time for expenses. And oftentimes they mirror each other, but in all circumstances, we absolutely encourage you to reach out to your local tax professional or an accountant who will be able to assist you in making sure that you have the right tax profile set up for your system. Now, the final point I want to make here is that once you have edited your tax profile, this will not retroactively apply against any current estimates that you may have already created. Or we know there are some circumstances, perhaps this is your default tax profile, but if you work across county or city lines, then there are going to be some circumstances where you'll need to change the tax profile for a particular estimate in a particular job. So to do that, we're actually now going to jump into an estimate. And specifically here, we're going to start in estimate details. We do have a video that goes through the screen in more and a bit more in depth, but today we're really just going to focus on this tax profile where we can go ahead and customize it. And this will basically allow you to then either make any changes to this particular estimate, again, in a circumstance where you've already created an estimate before you've created your default tax profile, or if you need to change this away from your default tax profile to accommodate any other particular taxation requirements based on the area and the geography of where you're doing a project. And so that's how we set up our account in Buildxact.